Greetings, viewers. You've tuned into Insight Independent, your reliable source for unbiased information and analysis. Today, we're tackling the multifaceted issue of immigration, tracing its profound effects on the USA's economy and society. As we journey through this topic, we'll revisit the corridors of history to understand how past policies have both facilitated and complicated matters. We'll also critique the current policies, sprinkling our conversation with suggestions from credible sources on potential solutions. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the historical policies and their impacts. To truly understand the present, we must venture into the past. The narrative of U.S. immigration policy is as old as the country itself, and it's a tale marked by both progress and regress. In the mid-19th century, the Chinese Exclusion Act was signed into law, marking a stark departure from the nation's open-door policy. This law, the first significant restriction on free immigration in U.S. history, outright prohibited the immigration of Chinese laborers for a decade. Although the act was initially temporary, it was extended with the Geary Act and wasn't fully repealed until the mid-20th century. This policy was a clear manifestation of the racial and economic anxieties of the era. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, and the landscape of U.S. immigration policy saw a radical shift with the Immigration Act of 1965. This policy abolished the national origins quota system that had dictated U.S. immigration policy since the 1920s, replacing it with a preference system focused on immigrants' skills and family relationships with U.S. citizens or U.S. residents. This led to a significant increase in the number of immigrants from non-European countries, diversifying the American population and contributing to its economic vitality. However, with the increase in immigration came an increase in undocumented immigrants. To address this, the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986 was enacted. This law provided a pathway to legal status for millions of undocumented immigrants, but also strengthened immigration enforcement. While it offered an opportunity for those living in the shadows, it also set a precedent for the increased criminalization of undocumented immigration. As we can see, the path of immigration policy has been far from straightforward, with both triumphs and pitfalls. Each policy, each law, has shaped the nation, the economy, and the social fabric in profound ways. Understanding this historical context is crucial in critiquing the current state of affairs and envisaging a more inclusive and equitable future. Fast forward to the present day, where the landscape of immigration has drastically evolved. The American immigration policy, as it stands in 2024, is a complex structure with a myriad of rules, regulations, and processes. It's designed with the intent to balance the economic needs of the country, the humanitarian responsibility towards refugees, and the security concerns of its citizens. On one hand, it brings benefits. It fills labor gaps, contributes to economic growth, and enriches the cultural diversity of the nation. The National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine reports that immigrants and their descendants are integral to the innovation and productivity of the United States. However, on the other side of the coin, the current policy has its share of criticisms. The process is often described as slow, expensive, and complex. It's a Herculean task for many to navigate, often leading to a backlog of applications and a growing number of undocumented immigrants. The socioeconomic impacts of these shortcomings are palpable. The Center for Migration Studies states that the economy could be losing out on the potential contributions of these individuals who are stuck in the shadows. More than that, the issue of immigration has become a flashpoint for social tensions. The Migration Policy Institute notes that these tensions often stem from misconceptions about immigrants and their impact on society. Furthermore, the policy's stringent approach towards asylum seekers and refugees has been a subject of debate. While the need for security checks is understood, the Human Rights Watch argues that the current approach often compromises the humanitarian responsibility of the country. The current policy, while it has its merits, also leaves room for improvement, as evidenced by the ongoing issues. As we move forward, it's crucial to recognize that immigration is a complex issue that requires a balanced and nuanced approach. It's not just about the economy or security, but also about the people whose lives are directly affected by it. The key is to find a policy that respects the rights and contributions of immigrants, while also addressing the valid concerns of the citizens. So, where do we go from here? How can we address the issues at hand? The challenges we face are not insurmountable. it's time to look at some potential solutions, ideas that could reform our immigration system and create a more harmonious society. First, we need to rethink our approach to undocumented immigrants. Rather than focusing on punitive measures, we could consider a path to citizenship. This could boost our economy by increasing the tax base and filling labor gaps. Next, let's talk about updating our visa system. It's antiquated and doesn't reflect the globalized world we live in. A more flexible system could attract skilled workers and entrepreneurs, fostering innovation and economic growth. Another idea involves investing in border communities. These areas often bear the brunt of immigration issues. By improving infrastructure and creating job opportunities, we could stimulate local economies and reduce tensions. And let's not forget about addressing the root causes of migration. By supporting economic development and security in countries people are leaving, we could manage migration more effectively. These are just a few ideas, but they represent a shift in thinking, a shift towards a more compassionate and pragmatic approach. It's important to remember that immigrants have always been a vital part of our nation's fabric, and with the right policies, they can continue to enrich our country in countless ways. Change is never easy, but with thoughtful policy and careful implementation, progress is possible. Now we turn the discussion over to you, our insightful viewers. Consider the present state of immigration in the United States. What are your thoughts on it? Do you believe it has bolstered our economy or strained it? What about the social implications? Do you think it has enriched our cultural diversity, or has it led to increased tensions? Reflect back on the past policies we've discussed. Were there any that stood out to you as particularly beneficial or detrimental? What lessons can we learn from these historical precedents? And finally, as we look towards the future, what changes would you propose? How can we reform our immigration policy to better serve the interests of all those involved, from the immigrants themselves to the wider American society? We invite you to share your thoughts, ideas, and perspectives in the comments section below. We look forward to your insights. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time on Insight Independent. Until then, stay curious and keep questioning.